right, with another Turned Up Thursdays. Right, shalom to all the mighty brothers in this thing, all the mighty sisters in this walk, continuing to hold fast unto the Lord, all the mighty children in this walk, constantly growing in the scriptures, right, constantly seeking out the Lord's face, constantly trying to become more righteous and more faithful in these last days, but above all, more obedient unto the words of the Lord and having faith in Yahweh, right? Coming back at you with another Turned Up Thursdays, as I said, right? It's not going to be a deep or a long lesson through the Spirit, right? But, we're going to get in this thing shortly, right? Shalom, Zako Manta, Salakia. Shalom, but the Moses, the messenger, right? And as y'all can see, the title of this lesson is called Are You Ahcan? Right? And if you don't know who Ahcan is, you got to read the book of Joshua, the 6th and 7th chapter, right? We're going to touch it, right? But I'm going to give you a brief overview, right? Ahcan, right, if you understand, is a Israelite, right? But he's stiff-necked, he hard-headed, and he let the cares of this life, of this world, kind of take him away, right? So like I said, it's not going to be a deep or a long lesson, right? But it's just something to think about through the Spirit, right? Let me get a quick precept in the book of Matthew, the 13th chapter. Right, shalom, everybody that's hopping in this thing, man. Right, Lord willing, y'all are continuing to read, pray, fast, right? But ultimately the goal is what? Enduring to the end, right? Casting off your old sins, constantly being renewed through the Spirit, constantly learning and increasing your faith and obedience to the Most High God. All right, let's get this precept real quick. One second. All right, right. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and verse 22. All right, through the Spirit says thus, He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. Right? So it said what? He that received the seed, right, amongst thorns, right? What are thorns? They're prickly. They catch you up, right? You might touch one and you might, prick yourself. It hurts, right? Start to choke up the good things about you, right? And the example I'm using is Ahcan. Because what? We're going to get into this thing. But like I said, brief overview, waiting on more brothers and sisters to get in this thing, right? Ultimately, Ahcan was put to death because what? He received word among stony ground. He let the cares of this life destroy him and his whole household, right? So, like I said, Turned Up Thursday, but this is just something to meditate on, man. What spirit are you moving in, right? Are you moving in the spirit of righteousness? Are you moving in the spirit of meekness, right? Are you moving in the spirit of Yahweh Shai? All right, these are all things to be examined in these last days, right? So without further ado, right, we're gonna go ahead and get in this thing, right? So the first book we're gonna go to is Joshua, the 6th chapter. All right, we're gonna read it. We're gonna hop around a little bit because it's good to get this history, right? This is ultimately this chapter is going into what? The destruction of Jericho. All right, Joshua chapter 6 and verse 1. It says what? Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. So we compassed the city about, right? And none of those heathens would dare step foot out. All right. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. So the Lord keeps telling them to do this thing 7 times. 7 times this, 7 times that, right? Because 7 is a number of completion, if you didn't know, right? It's a perfect number. Go ahead. It says what? And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, right? And when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. So that's how mighty and powerful our God is, right? It said what? He's gonna make when you hear the sound of the trumpet, the damn walls are gonna fall down, man. Right? And something like that, that's not just gonna happen for the average man, right? With little faith. All right. Let me get a quick precept real quick in Hebrews. Right? Shalom, Officer Barakai. All right, let me get this quick precept. Because stuff like that only happens when you have great faith, right? Let's get this in Hebrews chapter 11, right? In verse 33, straight to the point. It says thus, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, and stopped the mouths of lions, right? Talking about Daniel at the last verse. But it said, who through faith subdued kingdoms. Why you think the children of Israel was able to have that thing happen through the Most High God if we didn't have faith in his power and his might, right? All he said was walk around the city and then blow the damn trumpet. And then boom, the damn wall's gonna fall, right? Hey, so keep that in mind in these last days, right? About the amount of faith that we gotta have. The Lord, Yahweh Shah, said we gotta have faith as small as a mustard seed, right? So don't let whatever you're going through, right, kind of deter you from this walk, man. Kind of make you get upset and kick against the pricks, like it's saying Acts chapter 9, right? Just a little word of exhortation, right? So we're going to hop around a little bit, all right? Let's drop to verse 16. It says, and it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, shout, for the Lord hath given you this city, and the city shall be accursed, right? And what's a city that's accursed today? Babylon, right? Filthy America, right? And its policies, all right? It says, and the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that are therein, to the Lord. It said to the Lord. The Lord held this thing to be accursed, all right? That's why you read in Revelation, the 18th chapter, that's why the Lord said, come out of her, that you receive not of her plagues, all right? It says what? It shall be cursed, even it, and all that are therein to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. Verse 18. And ye, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves a curse, when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and trouble it. So the Lord gave a plain, simple, direct order. It said what? Keep yourselves from the accursed thing, right? And what are some accursed things today? Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's. We just celebrated Halloween, right? That's like not what we just celebrated, what the world just celebrate, right? Damn, birthdays, adulteries, eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. All these things are accursed things. And the Lord said, keep yourselves from the accursed things, lest you make yourself a curse, man. And we already under the curse, man, right? The only way we become a curse is if we indulge in accursed things. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, right, in verse 31. Right, shalom to everybody hopping in the chat. All right, Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31. It says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. So the Bible is giving us wisdom, right? It said, don't envy your oppressor and don't choose none of his ways. Because why do we want to be like the evil man that ruleth over us with hatred, right? Hey, he kind of whipped the nationality off our back and tell us we something else, and we eat that thing up. Not only do we eat it up, we far exceed them in their own wickedness at times. right? So the Lord said, choose envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Verse 32, for the forward is an abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous, all right? Verse 33 is the point. It says the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked. So when you wandering about being wicked, the Lord going to meet you with a curse, right? That's why brothers say, I said this before, but brothers be like, hey, when brothers are after spirit, we kind of say, what? Hey, don't let it hurt, a curse hit you. And we're not saying that to, just be niggerish about it, but we literally let you know, like, hey, Ak, you out the spirit, right? Hey, sis, you out the spirit. Don't let a curse hit you, right? Because it said what? The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blessed the habitation of the just, right? So let's get some more of this about Ahcan, right? I'm gonna read on at verse 19, Joshua 6 and 19. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord, right? And that's pretty much it in this chapter right here. So we're going to move around real quick. Let's go to chapter 7 and verse 1, right? So remember in 6 and 18, right? Shalom, Brother Abraham. Remember Joshua 6 and 18. The Lord gave a direct commandment saying to keep yourselves from the accursed thing, all right? You got to have the same mindset here in America. We have fringes, right, to look down and remind us not to go whoring after the lust of the flesh, all right? So keep yourselves from the accursed thing, all right? Joshua chapter 7 and verse 1. It says thus, but the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. For Ahcan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zadbi, the son of Zerah of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel, right? And I got a class written down somewhere, right? And I'm gonna probably touch in this same chapter again later down the line, right? Whenever I do that class, Lord's will. But the title of that class is what? Don't be a hindrance. Because what? It told you the man that sinned and took of the accursed thing, right? But the Lord's indignation was against the whole body, right? So we got to keep these things in mind. When we wandering off, especially as men, leaders, right? Young men, future leaders of households, leaders of congregations, we got to keep these things in mind. Brothers that got wives and children, right? If you go and eat of the curse or take of the accursed thing, which is ultimately sin, right? The lust of this world, the Lord's anger can not only be kindled against you, but against your children, your wife, right? Your congregation. Evil spirits just start running through that thing. Lord forbid. But we got to keep this thing in mind, right? So let me get a quick precept. Let's go to Sirach chapter 27, right? In verse 1. It says thus, many have sinned for a small matter. Now, Ahcan, when he took of the accursed thing, he might have thought, hey, this is a small matter. We're going to read what he took. But in his heart, he probably thought, like, yeah, it's something slight. I can kind of get away with this real quick. I ain't going to do it no more, I promise, right? It says, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. Verse 2, as a nail sticketh fast between the joinings, right? You kind of take a nail, put it through the wall, and attach a piece of paper, right? As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling. Meaning what? Sin is right there at the door, wherever you go. It's that simple. Just how you can go to the grocery store or you can go to the gas station down the street. Hey, sin is right there, right? And roughly paraphrasing a precept that Captain's brought out from this past Sabbath, Genesis chapter 4, right? If you do well, you should be accepted. But if you do evil, sin lieth at the door. It's that simple, right? Now, verse 3 is the point. So, right, 27 and 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. So, us as men, as leaders, right? It says what? that we have to diligently hold ourselves in the fear of the Lord. Right? You too, sisters. Right? Don't just think, yeah, these niggas. It's them. It's all of us. Us as a nation of Israel, we have to hold ourselves diligently in the fear of the Lord. At least we be overthrown. Right? So let's find out some more. Let's get some more on this. Joshua chapter 7, verse 2. It says, and Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Beth-aven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. Right? Remember, Ahcan, he took it a cursed thing. Right? He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord's anger was kindled against the nation of Israel. Right? So it says the men went up and viewed Ai. Verse 3. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. And the Lord finna show you how mighty he is. Right? When the Lord give you a direct command, that means you gotta do that thing. Right? These heathens, these nations, your supervisors, right? Whoever your leader is at your job, they give you a direct command, and 9 times out of 10, you do that thing. Right? I had to think about that myself at work. I was like, damn, man, the Lord could give a straight commandment, and, Jake don't want to do that. But if your supervisor, right, if he tell you to do something, okay, yes, sir. Right? That's another thing to meditate on. Right? But let's keep reading. Verse 4. It says thus, so there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. Right? So, hey, the man came back with a report. He said, hey, don't let everybody go. It's about 2,000 or 3,000. It's not a lot of them. Right? And he said what? The Lord said what? And they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down, wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. Right? Hey, 36 men kind of ran off and damn thrust it through the people, man. Right? And why you think that was? Because what? Sirach 27:3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. Hey, the nation of Israel was being put to flight because of one man's sin. Right? And it's another cut right here for the OT onlys, right? With the precept in Romans, right? Because what? It said in Romans, right? Hey, through one man's sin, right? We entered into death. Ultimately talking about Adam, right? But this is another example to show you that. Through one man's sin, the nation of Israel was being afflicted. So how much more through one man's death and burial, right? Should a nation of Israel be saved? That's just another thinking point. But we're going to stay on topic, all right? So it said what? In verse 5. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gates, even unto Shebarim. And why did that happen? Let's go to the book of Psalm, the 38th chapter. Right, Psalm chapter 38. It's like it. Psalm 31 is what I'm looking for. It's like it. Psalm 31 and verse 10. All right. Psalm chapter 31 and verse 10. And it reads thus. For my life is spent with grief, and my years with sighing. My strength faileth because of mine iniquity, and my bones are consumed. So the Lord said what? Because of our sin, our strength is failing, right? We have no power in our hand when we're in sin. So when the Lord kind of raises up to go against a nation, right? Of course we're confounded, right? What do you think happened to the Black Panther Party? Hey, Negroes out there with the big afros, no beards, right? Sisters dressed all out of order, right? Just doing what the hell they want to do. No structure in the scriptures. Confounded. Damn Malcolm X clean shaven face, looking like Mr. Nice Guy with the suit and tie and the glasses, right? Confounded, right? Martin Luther King, a pastor, a preacher, not teaching no commandments of the Lord, not teaching the faith, the true faith in Yahweh Shai. They confounded. So these are certain things that happen to our nation when we're in out of compliance with the Lord's scriptures, right? And commandments. All right, so that's just something to think about, man. All right. I'm gonna drop down. Let's go to verse 11. Joshua 7 and verse 11. It reads thus: Israel hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them, for they have even taken of the accursed thing. And the Lord is literally saying they. And that just show you how heavy it is, right, as leaders, right, and servants of the Lord's, that our reflections reflect, our actions reflect on the nation of Israel, reflect on our households, reflect on our families, right? Hey, reflect on the camp. That's why the Lord said, give no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. Let's get there real quick. In 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 6. And it reads thus. It's like it's 6 and 3. Man, I always get them confused, man. 2 Corinthians 6 and 3. It says, giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed, right? But in all things, approving ourselves as the ministers of God. So in all things, we should be approving ourselves to be the holy ministers of God. It says what? In much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, meaning what? In your wants, in your desires. You may be so heavily afflicted and you just feel like, Lord, I just need a break. Hey, your pockets might be hurting, right? And it said what? In necessities. You gotta have patience in necessities. What you hey, Israel just won a battle, right? You don't think they was looking for a come up, right? You don't think they was looking for the spoils of war? But the Lord said you gotta be patient in your necessities. Because in Matthew chapter 6, the Lord knows that you have need of these things, man. Right? Come on, y'all gotta follow me, man. The Lord knows that you have needs of these things, so you gotta be patient, right? And cleave unto the Lord and set your heart aright. But the point was in verse 3, not to give offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed, that your household be not blamed. All right? So Joshua chapter 7 and verse 11, reading on. It says, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them, for they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen, and dissembled also. It's like it disassembled also. And they have put it even among their own stuff. So the Lord said that they put these things among their own stuff. They stole it from the Lord, man. That's another offense. It was covetous. It was rebellious against the commandment. And then they stole it, man, because the Lord said it was supposed to dwell within the tabernacle. If I'm not mistaken, in verse 19 and verse 20. The treasury, right? So I'm going to read on. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. So when we participate in the accursed acts, right, ultimately just what? Breaking the commandments. The Lord said what? We can't stand before our enemies, right? Because we're accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except you destroy the accursed from among you. Right? So the Lord said you got to put away evil from among the congregation. Right? You have to. At least the Lord not sup with you no more. Right? How much more on a day-to-day level? You know, we may not be dwelling amongst each other like that, but even in your own temple, right? You got to put away that accursed thing before the Lord just decide not to deal with you no more. Right? So let's continue on, man. Right? So the next talking point I was going to get, right, is what? Not to covet the devices of this world. Because ultimately, that's what got Ahcan destroyed, right? I'm going to read that, but let's get this real quick. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. right? Because it's the things that this world put in our face since a youth, since children, right? That's what's causing us to go astray, right? 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11, and it reads thus. So, Slacky, I'll start at 10, man. It says, "To whom you forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Christ." Right? Verse 11. Lest Satan, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. That's why the scriptures say, be holy. I mean, be sober, right? You have to be sober, right? Because you have to be aware of these things that are around us. You have to be aware of the phones, listening to your conversations, listening to the things that you desire. And then boom, 5 minutes later, it pop up, showing you exactly what you was talking about, right? Hey, how much more, if it could do that for the small good things, right? How much more for the evil things that you might have a evil thought cross your mind, and then boom, now start popping up on your phone, right? You got the lust of this world, naked women, damn, disastrous holidays, right? The lust of the flesh, hey, the eyes of man are like hell. They're never full, according to Proverbs 20 and 27, right? Hey, man wants to devour in these things, right? That's exactly what Ahcan did. He saw it. He's like, damn, I need that. I gotta have it. And what? Satan took advantage of him, man. Let's get another one. Let's go to Proverbs, the 19th chapter. All right, Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 21 or 20. It says, "Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end." So, hey, don't be out here moving on your own will, right? You have to always obtain counsel, whether it's you trying to court, whether it's you trying to make big life moves, right? Whether it's just you just making everyday decisions. It says to hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in that latter end. Verse 21. Here's the point. There are many devices in a man's heart, right? Why are there many devices in a man's heart? Because a man's mind is likened unto 7 watchmen that continually speak to him, according to Sirach, the 37th chapter. It says, "Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand," right? It's many devices in a man's heart. It's many spirits out here that can hop on you and cause your thoughts to be unrighteous, right? But at the end of the day, the counsel of the Lord is what's going to stand. So if you know that the counsel of the Lord is going to stand, you should be doing everything in your power to serve the Lord rather than your own deceitful flesh, right? I want to get one quick precept for that real quick, right? Because man is held in derision, and man doesn't perceive, right, that the Lord can have him had their eyes shut, right? Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 18. It says what? "They have not known, nor understood, for he hath shut their eyes, that they cannot see, and their hearts, that they cannot understand." Man just thinks he's doing his own will. But at the end of the day, what we know, the counsel of the Lord is going to stand, right? So if you're not seeking the Lord is going to what? Shut your eyes and have you in derision, thinking you doing your own pleasures, right? Verse 19. It says what? "And none considereth in his heart, neither is there knowledge nor understanding." So none of these people have understanding, right? When you covet the things of this world, right, and the wickedness that be at hand, you don't have understanding, right? So, all right, let's go back to Joshua. All right, Joshua chapter 7. All right, verse. I'm gonna start at verse 16. says Joshua chapter 7 and verse 16. It says, so Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarhites, and he brought the family of the Zarhites man by man, and Zabdiah was taken. And he brought his household man by man. And Ahcan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah of the tribe of Judah, was taken. And Joshua said unto Ahcan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to Yahweh, power of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me, right? And how do you think Joshua knew that it was Ahcan who took of the accursed thing, right? Because the scriptures say what? Like, roughly paraphrasing in the book of Luke, that there's nothing that's covered that should not be, so like there's nothing hid that should not be uncovered. Let me see if I can find that real quick. All right. Luke 12 and 3, it says, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. How you think the Lord, Joshua knew that it was Ahcan, right? Because of this right here. Let's go to Proverbs 15 and 3. Right? This is how Joshua knew that it was Ahcan who did the iniquity. Proverbs 15 and 3 says, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, not just some places, not just in one place. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Right? So the Lord used angels, man. The Lord literally got angels recording our every single thought, our actions, right? What we doing. Hey, what we doing tomorrow? What we doing next week? Right? Hey, the angels are recording these things. Right? So if you know you're moving in the spirit of covetousness, in the spirit of idolatry, right? Variance, witchcraft, and diverse lusts, understand that they're dwelling in your presence. Salakia. Salakia. Had some technical difficulties, right? But as I was saying, understand that there's a holy minister of God dwelling in your presence, man, recording each and every single thought and action that you have, right? That's a conscious understanding that you have to have, right? Because it says in Sirach, by the fear of the Lord, sin is driven away. It's a fearful thing to understand that there are angels about us. Some of them got drawn swords. Hey, some of them, you know, kind of got the ability through the Most High to shut your mouth that you can't speak, right? Some of them got the ability to become evil beasts, right? Like lions and tigers and vicious dogs and destroy and appease the wrath of him that made them, right? So you got to understand this is the type of power that we're dealing with when we're dealing with our God, all right? So I'm going to keep reading. Verse 20, and Ahcan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, right? So I'm going to stop right there real quick. He said he saw a goodly Babylonish garment, right? On a spiritual aspect, what is that talking about? Right? Because the scriptures say what? In Job 11 and 6, the secrets of wisdom are double to that which is. Right? What is that talking about? He saw a goodly Babylonian garment. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 35. Right? Well, Slaki, before we go there, let's go to Ecclesiastes 9 and 8. Right? Because spiritually, your garments represent the spirit that you're walking in. All right? Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 8. It says, let thy garments be always white, and let thy head lack no ointment. Right? Let your garments be always white. That's talking about what? Let your spirit always be clean. Right? You should always be abounding and seeking to walk it righteously. All right, let's get another one. Let's go to Isaiah 52 and verse 1. It says, awake, awake, put on thy strength. So the Lord said to what? Put on your strength, right? You basically change your clothes. If you're putting on strength, that means you're taking off wickedness, right? And weakness, right? It says, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, right? So the Lord is telling us to put on our beautiful garments. Put on righteousness, man. Let me get that real quick through the Spirit. Put on righteousness. Job chapter 29 and verse 14. All right, it's the home run hitter right there. Job 29 and 14. It says, I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. Right? And that's plain. Right? So the garments, right, that are in today's times, right, they could be filthy, or they could be white and clean. They could be yucky, right? Or they could be as righteousness, man. All right, so let's keep that in mind. So it said that Ahcan, he saw a goodly Babylonian garment. The Lord said that the garments of these heathen, they're filthy. All right, let me get this in Haggai. Haggai chapter 2. All right, I'm gonna say Haggai chapter 2 and verse 14. All right, it's like it. Yeah, we're gonna get Haggai 1, 2 and 14. All right, and it reads thus. Then answered Haggai and said, so is this people, and so is this nation before me, saith the Lord. And so is every work of their hands, and that which they offer, Slaki, and that which they offer there is unclean. Right? So the nations, everything that they do is unclean. Right? Whether it be down from traditions, what they started calling the days, right? How they observe the times, right? Everything that they do is unclean, right? And Akai, he's kind of saw that. He saw that garment. It was like, I need that. I kind of want that garment. I want that filthy, defiled garment. That's how we should be observing sin, right? When we see sin and we make the decision, we're like, I need that. You're now unclean before the eyes of the Lord. All right, let's get another one. Let's go to Lamentations, chapter 1, and verse 9. All right, Lamentations, chapter 1, and verse number 9. And it reads thus. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembereth not her last end. So the Lord said, our filthiness is in our skirts. Right? Talking about Jerusalem, ultimately, because Israel or Jerusalem is likened unto a woman. All right? So her filthiness, meaning what? Her sin. Her sin is within her skirts. We can see the sin of Jerusalem, right? Our women walk about haughtily with stretched forth necks, right? Hey, we could see the sin of Babylon, right? Her skirts being uncovered, right? We could see the sin of Judah and Ephraim, right? They declaring their sin as Sodom, right? So all of these things are spiritually representation of the spirit that we walking in, all right? So what? He saw a filthy Babylonian garment. He probably looked good at the time, but when you get those things, you understand it's nothing but death and destruction. All right? That's why the Lord said this. Let's go to Psalms chapter 106. Because what did the Lord say on how we supposed to maneuver with these nations? Let's get this in Psalms real quick. 106 and verse 35. Because it's exactly what our people do today, and it's exactly what the brother Ahcan did. Right? Psalm 106 and 35. It says, but, where, you know what? I got to start up at 33. I got to. All right? It says, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them. Because the Lord really commanded us to destroy a lot of these nations, man. But like Saul, right? Like many of the Northern Kingdom brothers, right? Hey, they kind of mingled there and sat there, right? Verse 35. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Right? So how do you think we got Hellenistic Jews? They were mingled amongst these heathen and learned their works. Right? How you think we got damn Issachar want to be like Esau? Got the freshly trimmed face with the little bitty stash, with a damn American hat on and a gun on his hip. Right? Or how you think they got Big Mama in there eating damn, what's it called? The pig behind intestines. Chitlins, and celebrating Christmas the next morning, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And this has been going on for years upon years upon years, thousands of years, man. That's why the scriptures say my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because of a truth, we are, man. We've been harshly afflicted, all because of our sins. All right? Let's get one more. Let's go to Numbers chapter 33. Right? Because these nations are a snare unto us. Nothing that these nations are doing is righteous. So what business have we with them? What fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? Right? They garments, they can keep. We got our own garments. Right? Hey, their wickedness, they can have it. Right? The unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God. What is it that we need from these nations? Nothing. Right? This is the book of Numbers, chapter 33, and verse 52. It says, then ye shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images. Damn, Caesar Borgia, right? Kind of destroy that thing. That thing is deeply impaled within the minds of our nation. Destroy it, right? Because when you have that image, you have the understanding of who that is. And you walk just like how he would walk. Filthy, liar, hypocrite, unclean. So the Lord said that we got to destroy those images and quite pluck down all their high places, right? Hey, one of the captains, I ain't gonna say it was captain, and it was at work one time and they kind of threw down the Christmas tree, right? Inflamed with the zeal of the Lord. This is how we should be doing on a day-to-day basis. Not literally saying go out there and throw down the Christmas tree, but we should be breaking down the idols that's on the minds of our peoples, right? Breaking down the idols that's within our hearts, according to Ezekiel 14 and 14. Ezekiel 14 and 2, Slaki. It says, and ye shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land and dwell therein. So you got to dispossess them, meaning what? Evict them. Get them gone. For I have given you the land to possess it, right? I'm going to drop down to verse 55. But if you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, right? Then it shall come to pass that those which ye let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein ye dwell. So these nations, it was never meant for us to be cordial with these nations. The Lord literally telling you, hey, they're going to be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they're going to vex the hell out of you, right? And not only are they going to vex us, but the scriptures say what? Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Right, brothers should know where I'm going with this. Right, Deuteronomy chapter 7, right, in verse 4. Right, not only are they going to vex us, but watch this. It says thus, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So the Lord said, hey, these nations, they're going to take your children and they're going to turn them away. Right, a lot of brothers and sisters, they got sons and daughters in this truth. Hey, a lot of time their sons and daughters, right, kind of fall out the truth. Lord forbid, man. But I've seen this thing happen, right? These nations, right? Their structure, their idols. It says what? They will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Another precept to show you got to take accountability for these things, man. Because if we simply deal with the Lord told us to do, we wouldn't even be in them situations. Hey, if Ahcan didn't disobey the order of the Lord saying not to touch this, hey, Israel would not have gotten put to flight that day, right? Hey, if you didn't walk outside of the commandments of the Lord, you and your family probably wouldn't be getting afflicted as much, right? These are just simple things to meditate upon, all right? So what's the next precept? All right, let's go to the book of Daniel, the 11th chapter, right? And like I said, it's not going to be a super long class, right? I know I started pretty late, man. Captivity is wearing out the saints, man. You know, let's go to Daniel chapter 11, right? Because the moment we choose to follow these nations, you got to also understand these nations, they don't want to see us prosper. Why you think in a presidential election, right, they want to appeal to our women to what? Have abortions, right? They want to appeal unto what? LGBT, ABCD, LMNOP communities, right? And endorse those things to destroy our nation, right? Hey, whatsoever we do, these people, they do not want to see it succeed, right? We're the chosen apple that's being hated by the rest of the trees. Before I get this down, let me get this in Song of Solomon real quick. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, right? It might be chapter 2. I ain't read it in a while. Kind of Song of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 2. It says, as the lily among thorns, so is my love among the daughters. So what? We're as a lily, right? The nation of Israel, and the rest of these nations are as thorns, right? As we read in Numbers chapter 33 and verse 54, right? Verse 3, it says, as the apple tree among the trees of wood. We're the apple tree, right? We bear good fruit. The rest of the trees are just plain Janes, right? So is my beloved among the sons. I sat down under his shadow with great delight, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. Right? Let me get another one. All right. Song of Solomon 1 and 6. It says, look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun had looked upon me. Going into what? The affliction that we go through. These captivities. Right? Precept for the sun being affliction. What? Sirach 24 and verse 16 on down. Or is that 34? It's one of the two. All right. Psalm 91 and 6 on down. Right? The sun looking upon us brings affliction. Reading on. It says, my mother's children were angry with me. Talking about what? The rest of these nations, right? These nations are furious at us because all of them got set by and the Lord gave his covenant to us. So that means these nations going to do whatever the hell they can in their power to make us fall away from the Lord, to put sin in our face and try to get us to eat that thing up, like it's saying Hosea 4, right? Hosea 5 and verse 5. It says what? They made me the keeper of the vineyards, meaning what? They brought us into captivity, right? Reading on. But mine own vineyard, meaning what? Our own understanding, our own land, right? Our own heritage have I not kept. So these nations will literally make themselves our gods, man, and harshly afflict us to the point where we can't even serve our God, right? So these nations, they don't want to see us prosper, man. So you have to have these conscious thoughts daily, right? Let's go to Daniel chapter 11, right, in verse 29. It says thus, at the time appointed, he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. For the ships of Chittim shall come against him, therefore he shall be grieved, and return, and have indignation against the holy covenant, These nations have an indignation against us, right? They have an indignation against us. Tell you in Editions of Esther, the 11th chapter, right? That these people want to stand up to fight against us. Revelations 12 and 10 on down, right? They coming against us with wrath because they know that their time is short. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant. Meaning what? He put out these devices for our people to eat them up, and he's sitting there rejoicing. He know that they in sin, right? He know that we in sin, right? Looking upon our people's ignorance, rejoicing with them that forsake the holy covenant. Verse 31, right? Us like that shit on that. So these nations, they know exactly what they doing when they put sin in our face, right? And they want us to forsake the holy covenant so that they can keep their thumbs on our neck, all right? I have another precept for that. Come on, let's go to First Maccabees real quick. All right, we almost near the end of this class, man, so y'all just hold in there. First Maccabees, right, chapter 1. All right. I'm going to start at verse 9, right? First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. Talking about who? The death of Alexander the freaky Grecian. All right. Alexander the Freak, or Greek, Salakia. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, going into what? The division of his kingdom, right? Antiochus, Epiphanes, right? And the 4 generals that came about. It says, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right, I'm dropping down to verse 11. And in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, right? And that's the same prophecy that we read in Daniel 11 and 30, right? Them that have intelligence, that forsake the law and the covenant. That's talking about these wicked men right here, right? Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. So these wicked men taking that filthy garment of Babylon and storing it upon their flesh, right? It says what? That are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow, right? That's what brothers in the music industry selling their souls for what, right? Giving up their bowels for what? For the riches of this world that's going to be destroyed. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. And the Lord said this device right here, right? Prosperity in his filthy, defiled kingdom, it pleased him, right? Hey, a covenant with God forsaken men, it pleased them, all right? Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them a license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Man, that's wicked as hell. They so caught up in their lust, they went to the king and said, please let us do this, right? And here's the point right here. Let's go to verse 40, right? Because our people already wanted to do evil and be like the heathen, right? But let's go to verse 40. This is a point right here to show you that the nation still don't give a damn. They still want you to do wickedly, right? They like, you doing wickedly? Come do some more wickedly. Anything to remove you far from the borders of God. Right? First Maccabees 1 and verse 40. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, right? Hey, we had a glorious temple, right? But when the Babylonians destroyed it, the Greeks come through and destroyed it, right? It says our dishonor was increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Verse 41, here's the point. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all, not some, that all should be one people, and everyone shall leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So King Antiochus, he didn't come and rebuke the children of Israel and kind of say, hey, y'all wrong as hell for disobeying y'all God. They increase the wickedness more and more. Filthy bastard, right? He said, hey, now all y'all got to come and serve me. He made it a decree, a statute, saying that everybody had to leave the laws of his families, the laws of their God, come serve me and my gods. Man, that's wicked as hell, man. So if you sit up here and actually believe that these nations regard you, brother, sister, sadly mistaken, right? Let's hop around a little bit, man. Right? That's gonna bring me to the closing precepts, right? Because what? Going back into this world and changing your garments to filthiness when you already put on a white garment, that's not gonna profit you. Right? Let's go to Luke chapter 21, verse 34, the classic. Right? All of these devices are set up here to persuade you to be destroyed. All right, so keep these things in mind, man. Luke chapter 21 and verse 34. It says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting. So what? Be mindful of yourself, lest that you be your mind be given what? To the wickedness of this world. Right? Overindulging of the American dream, so-called, and drunkenness and cares of this life. And so that day come upon you unawares. Talking about what? The day of the Lord Yahushua. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things. Gotta watch and pray that we're able to escape Jacob's trouble, that we're able to escape our willful sins, that we're able to escape the wickedness of this world. All right. All these things shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. All right, so I'm going to get this last precepts. Go to Luke 17 and verse 32. All right, Luke chapter 17 and verse 32. And it reads this. Remember Lot's wife. And that's it. Remember Lot's wife, right? Hey, she's a monument, according to Wisdom of Solomon 10 and 9. She's a monument, right, to show unfaithfulness, right? She's a monument that represents going back into the world when the Lord brought you forth from this evil, right? So I pose the question, are you Ahcan? Because ultimately, what's going to happen, right? You're going to be destroyed, right? Just like Ahcan and his family, right? I said that was the last precept. I'm going to go ahead and get this. This is going to be the last precept. So like it. Joshua chapter 7. I got to close out with that since that's what we open up with, all right? Joshua chapter 7 and verse 25. And it reads thus. And Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. Why are you troubling the nation of Israel with your sins? The Lord going to trouble you, right? And all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. Right? And ultimately, you go back into this world and you choose the lust of it, hey, the Lord will destroy you and your whole house, man. Right? So that's the closing precept, man. So Lord willing, y'all was edified. Lord willing, y'all, through inspiration of the Most High, I was able to put something on y'all spirits, right? Confess your faults, man. In James 5 and 16, right? Confess your faults, leave off from sin, and be not meddled therewith. According to Job 36 and 20, right? Sirach 21 and 1, a plethora of precepts, right? Confess your sins, leave off from sin, don't meddle with sin. Because it's not going to profit us anything but hindrance and destruction, all right? With that, that's my time. All right, brother, you ride with another Turned Up Thursday. right? I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, and His Son, Yahweh Shah, the righteous. With that, shalom.